The good news is you can do this. And I'm going to encourage you, whatever you've been through, my prayers are with you, my thoughts are with you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rola, clinical psychologist, and today I want to talk to you about the difference between punishing and disciplining a child. Punishing a child is applying a penalty or some consequence for a behavior that you do not approve of as a parent. While disciplining is more of training a child to make decisions towards a certain set of values that you ascribe to as a parent. Now, let me be clear here. Punishment does have some benefits. That's why early on we teach parents to do timeouts. If a child is a 2-year-old, have a 2-year timeout, a 2-minute timeout. Go to your room, take away some things to bring to the attention of the child that what they're doing is not appropriate. But the overall goal for you and I as parents is for us to focus more on discipline. Punishment is should be a subset of discipline. This video is not to judge you, to make you feel that you failed, but is really for you to see the breadth of the possibilities in terms of what you can do to influence your child in a positive way. Because even if you want to corporally punish, they will get to a certain age where you may not be able to do that. So it's really important that we focus on the discipline side of things and we look in that direction rather than being overly focused on the punishment side. So we're looking at it on a spectrum. So now let's go into the difference between punishing and disciplining and what you need to be looking towards to be that kind of influential parent that you are. Before I continue in this video, I want you to subscribe. I want you to press that notification bell so that you can have immediate access to my video. Please follow me on social media. Ask Dr. Rola, AskDrRola. Now, what is the difference? And I'm going to go to this point by point. One of the things I've noticed with parents who focus primarily on punishment is that they show extreme affect. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of crying, and there's a lot of intensity in the emotionality. Nothing wrong with that. But that emotionality is what drives the punishment. It's intense, it's swift, and many times it's very aggressive. And for those who are moving in the direction of discipline, the affect is much more controlled, much more modulated. So the parent who is doing more discipline, helping the child to learn a certain set of values, helping them to focus on what is positive that they need to be working towards, is going to show more vulnerability, sadness. They will show anger, but more controlled. They're not leaning to one extreme emotion. They're more balanced. If you're leaning towards discipline, you're going to be more balanced in the affects, in the emotions you show. Your emotions are more likely to be variable. So when you're talking about your values, you can show sadness, you can show conviction, you can talk about what you went through and why you believe in them. And when it's punishment, the goal is to punish and is to inflict as much pain as possible. That's the first difference, affect, emotion. The second one is, in terms of those that focus primarily on punishment, they focus on the issue at the time. Nothing wrong in focusing on an issue that is very serious, that demands attention, but they tend to not look at the bigger picture, which is the pattern. By the time many parents bring their children to me, this behavior that they're concerned about has been going on for quite a while. And they come to me, those who are really focused on the punishment, they want me to just focus on that one action. They want it to be gone. Snap it out. Get it out of this child. Or even get the child to think, snap out of it. And the parent that is leaning toward discipline because their focus is to help the child to learn behaviors and do some training in the positive behaviors, they're going to be looking at patterns. How did we get here with this behavior? Is this acting out at school having to do with not having good structure at home? Is this acting out of school an extension of the attitude that this child is showing me at home? They're looking at patterns. They're looking at patterns that could be within the family unit that this child may be displaying. And the person who is focused primarily on punishment is looking at it in a much more myopic way, which you and I know is problematic because the problem solving is not going to be as good. The person who's looking at it pattern-wise is going to see the big picture. The one looking at the action is going to focus just on that and ignore, many times unintentionally, many of the other issues that are connected with the problem behavior. Now, what is the number 3 for the person that is focused on punishment? The person that is more focused on punishment is more likely to blame external factors. They may blame the child, which is maybe why the child is getting punished. They may blame the devil. They may blame the teacher. They may blame the bad friends. And the person that is focused on discipline is going to look at themselves as a parent. The parent that is more focused on punishment is going to do less introspection, less self-reflection of what their part could be in terms of getting the behavior to improve, or what they may have contributed, or how they can help. They're not doing introspection. They don't want to look within. And the person that is focused on discipline is doing much more introspection, not because they're doing something wrong, but ways in which they can bring about change in a positive way and what their role is. The person focused on punishment is focusing on the external, and the person focused on discipline is focusing on themselves as a parent, but also looking at the external. So it's a much more holistic way at trying to understand why this behavior is occurring. Another difference, the person who is focused on punishment tends to do a lot of threatening. I'm gonna take away your Xbox for the next 2 years. Oh, you're never going on vacation with us again for the next 3 years. Very broad threats that would be almost impossible to follow through with. And even the parents, when they're making their threats, they're not really thinking about it, and they're not even worried about them just passing on this, spitting out these empty threats. They don't have the follow through to even follow through with what they say they're going to do. And many times, the moment they inflict the punishment and they do that, everything goes back to how it used to be. Whereas the parent who is focused on discipline is a little bit more careful in terms of what they say they're going to do in terms of discipline. And again, like I said, that could include punishment, taking away a Game Boy, taking away Xbox, minimizing TV, whatever that is. But the person who is doing discipline is more likely to want to follow through with what they say they're going to do, because they're going to be careful in how they communicate and what they say they're going to do. Therefore, the parent who is focused on punishment is going to be somebody that is not following through, and the person who is disciplined is going to be making attempts to follow through with what they say they're going to do. The parent who is focused on discipline is going to be more respected by the child, and the parent who is focused on punishment may not be taken as seriously. One more difference. The person who is focused on punishment, whether that's their style or whatever, is focused on short-term fixes. Because they're not looking at this situation as a pattern, they're not trying to identify pattern and look at things holistically. They just want this behavior gone. So sometimes the behavior is not even improved, but they might even be in denial that the behavior has improved. When I've dealt with parents like this, they will tell me the behavior has improved. Oh, everything is okay now. That issue we're talking to you about, don't worry about it, it's okay. There's a sense of denial because they want things to go away quickly, and because they're looking for things to go away quickly, they tell themselves that things have improved. The person who is focused on discipline sees change as a process and a long-term process, because they're not just trying to get rid of the problem behavior, they're also trying to teach the behaviors that need to replace the problem ones. They're not looking for a short-term fix. They know it's going to take time, and they're committed to the process of helping the child to make that change. The person focused on punishment is more short-term and may put the problem aside and ignore it till there's a crisis. So this ends part 1 of this video about the difference between disciplining and punishing, and I will complete this in my next video, which will be part 2. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like this, share with as many people. Parenting is a challenging, rewarding, adventurous journey. At every stage of a child's development, you're constantly doing something different. Nobody has all the answers, but having a mindset of disciplining really empowers you and helps you to calm down and do things differently, and also helps your child to know that you're in the journey with them regardless of how challenging things may be. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.